Good morning. Welcome to another interesting episode of The Conversation here on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. And you know that by now I'm bringing you the show from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, and my name is Ade Suwalsi. Today on The Conversation, we're going to be talking about the socio-economic implication of the Okada ban in Lagos State. Now, sometime last week, a young man identified as Dave was mobbed and eventually murdered by commercial motorcyclists in Lagos State, and that sparked some level of outrage, from people all over social media. And as a result of that, the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, placed a total and indefinite ban on commercial motorcyclists, popularly called Okada, in 6 local government areas of Lagos State. And he also reiterated that the ban would also affect commercial tricycles, that's keke napep operators in the state. And a lot of people have concerns that the aftermath of that will, see a sharp rise in crime, especially, armed robbery and kidnapping in the state. So to join me in having that conversation here in the studio is the editor of News Digest, Gidado Schwab. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Hello, good morning, Adeswa.
It's a pleasure to have you. Now, let's get straight into it. So among the reasons that the governor have given, aside from, what I said earlier, among the reasons that he gave for the ban of Okada in Lagos State is the level of criminality in the state that is associated with commercial motorcyclists. A lot of them use that means of transportation to perpetrate crime. But having to place a ban on that much number, I think they said they have like a 12 million influx of commercial motorcyclists in the state in 2 years. Having to place a ban on that much people, isn't that cussing of the head to cure a headache? You are saying one of the reasons is to curb criminality, but you're taking the jobs away from this much people.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we need to really understand in this part of the world is that for laws to be respected, according to an American jurist, they say for laws to be respected, the laws must be made to be respectable. Okay. So do you understand? So we can't just make laws to say we're making bans. Okay. Like we also need to look at other aspects of the bans as well. Like all stakeholders need to be involved. For instance, now they're bringing this an influx of about even 3 million people trooped into Lagos in the wild, where people are engaging in commercial motorcycles. What will happen to this type of people who leave the market? So I think automatically the government need to think about creating job opportunities. Okay. They need to make sure that means of livelihood are being, improved for people. And again, another thing we need to really look into closely about the ban is that so a lot of the roads in the streets of Lagos are not good. Yeah. Do you understand? And it's only motorcycles that could ply these roads. For instance, we're talking about local government empowerment. Do you understand? You don't expect the federal government or state government to go and be fixing like street road, the road at the back of your house. Do you understand? So these are the rules that local government need to do. So I think it's necessary for us to empower our local governments. It's necessary for us to also look at the bottom-up approach of governance. This is the things that should come into the conversations at this moment. Do you understand how we can make sure that, because apart from even the motorcyclists, even people the commuters are going to suffer. Yes. Do you understand? And even the people who are going into the streets, who are being banned from this, will definitely go back to the streets in a situation where there's no job. So I think it's just something that we need to look at an holistic approach to it. And if they're banning it in 6 local governments, what will happen to the other local? Would they now would we see a mass movement of people to those places? Okay. And what will happen to people in those communities? Okay. So like a lot of things have to come on deck. We need to look at the holistic approach of fixing this. Okay,
it's actually beautiful that you mentioned the implication to have, or the impact they have on commuters, because I also know that another reason is that it was banned was because they said they're one of the reasons, the commercial motorcyclists are one of the reasons we have heavy traffic situation in Lagos State, especially because they never really obey traffic laws. But on the flip side, they also mitigate against, there's also a help commuters, mitigate against traffic, because you get to your destination faster with all of that. So do you think that that's not a sustainable approach? Maybe it's just pretty rash. by the governor of Lagos State to actually,
To
place
just
it back.
please Lagosians. Yes, it happened under Bola Tinubu in 2006. It was banned. It happened with Fashola in 2012. It was banned. It happened with 2018 with Ambodi.
Even in
was banned.
2020.
Even in 2020, it was banned. So I think this is where it comes back to the point about if laws need to be respected, they need to be made respectable. Just for instance, now you can't tell me that's going to when you have limited time to go to the airport and you're being holed up in the Ikeja Road and you have a motorcycle, you want to miss your flight. So like they provide some of these opportunities and they help in movement of people. But on the other hand, it's also said that they create about 45% of the accident emergencies in Lagos.
Yes.
So like it's something that we also need to look into. Our roads are most importantly need to be fixed. If we need to do this, we need to fix our roads. We need to make sure that because if the means of movement is not, if the roads are not good, then it will affect the means of livelihood of even people in the states.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Like for instance, now if people who are in Abuja have better cars and they have less to stress about when it comes to like that. So, but people in Lagos or other states that have bad roads, you see, it affects you mentally, for instance, to even give a case. So I think it is necessary it is just necessary that we try to make sure that we look at a holistic approach to this thing.
So would you say the government of Lagos State has really not figured out what to do or how to handle maybe the population rise in the state? Because personally, I think it's easy to blame it on commercial motorcyclists and the influx. But I think one of the problems that the state has is the rising, population in the state. And maybe that should be where the focus of the government should be at this point, not necessarily taking the livelihoods of people away. Do you also agree with that?
I think, the rising population is one. And once we also look at the rising population, we also need to know that our security agencies need to be empowered to figure out criminal elements out of those who are operating the motorcycles. Because there's an association in Lagos for the motorcycles. And they said all the members of the associations are registered under them. So I think it's necessary that if we need to check the influx of motorcycle riders going into that, then we also need to empower our security agents to make sure that they're able to figure them out. They are able to figure out who's wrong and who's bad. Do you understand? It is the role of our security actually to make sure that they checkmate and mitigate some of this insecurity that's happening in the states.
Personally, this is my personal opinion. I don't really think. I know it's a Nigerian issue, security, but I also still think that one thing that the Lagos State government should be looking at is more of a proactive form of security rather than a reactive security approach. Because whether we like it or not, there's going to be a spike in the rate of insecurity that we're going to see in Lagos State as a result of this. So do you think maybe some level of intelligence gathering and all of that also helps to mitigate against?
Yes, it must. That's what we have to do at this moment. A lot of intelligence gathering must go in. Because once they said, part of the thing that was said about the Commissioner for Information in the speech said, a lot of them smuggle themselves in when they're banned from other states such as Kano and other states, Borno, Yobe, where some of these motorcycle riders are being banned. They come and they smuggle themselves in through maybe like goods and services. So I think it is necessary for them to also spotlight how they come, and they must also make sure that every hand is on deck. Like even we're saying security is everybody's, it's not just the security business, it's everybody's business. Like if you should bring somebody into a state and you want him to go and do it, you're also conspiring in that. So I think it's just everybody's thing that we all need to put our hands on deck for.
Let me put you on the spot here. Do you think that Lagos State, as it is right now, can survive holistically without commercial motorcycles and maybe tricycles?
I just said it, like it was banned about 4 or 5 times already. So we know that this is just smoke. But as I would say, because very soon we're sure
this time it's total and indefinite, that nothing is going to shake it.
They've said it before. It's even went into the law. In 2018. So there's a Lagos State traffic law which says that they shouldn't be spotted on the highway.
Yes.
And 1, 2, 3, 4 months after, people are coming back. So it's just how we just need to fix our system for us to make sure that these things don't happen again. But if, for instance, now these people don't have a means of livelihood, they don't know how to get back to jobs, they don't know how to figure themselves out, commuters are being stranded on the road. Even the government at some point should just have, because At some point when they banned it in 2020, they provided about 500 cars, 500 local cars for movement. But is that sustainable for the population of Lagos? You know how Lagos is. So do you understand? So with no time, we will see them back again. But what we just need to do is that we need to fix our roads. We need to give these people a means of livelihood. We could engage some of them in neighborhood watch. Do you understand? Let's engage them in other productive means. And we also need to improve movement for people, and if all this is being put in place, then we can see that the ban will work. If not,
okay, sorry to interject. How do you think this would impact the neighboring states that that borders Lagos State?
yeah, definitely. Then we see them move into the other states. Like you see a lot of them, if they don't have a choice, like because it was banned in just 6 local governments. Gradually, they'll move into those 6 local governments. If they don't find and there are always people on the road. So like if they find out that, oh, this local government is already crowded by so many motorcyclists, every night we're human, so we're always looking out for opportunities. You could go to Ogun State, you could go to neighboring states, and that is just what it's going to cost, because a lot of the people who trooped in from Lagos are coming from states where it has been banned.
Yeah.
And if you keep it's just going to be a timid situation at the end of the day, whereby you see people just moving from one place to another, and at the end of the day, they engage in one form of criminality or the other if they don't find them way to survive, because it's just normal human instinct to survive.
Yes. To actually wrap up, in your perspective, what would you say? How does this speak to us as a country and as a people? Because you mentioned earlier, there's always a movement. They banned it here, people move here. They ban it here, people move here, and then there's always people moving back and forth. It's like no stability.
Yeah.
So what does that say about us as a country and as a people?
Nigeria, Nigeria, that it's the state of our country, we know, is definitely unstable.
All right.
Yeah, so I think it is necessary for us to consider the bottom or top approach, as I earlier said, whereby governance starts from the people on the floor, like people on the ground, whereby local government, not everything has to be centralized, when people have to come back to the federal government before it goes to the state government, before the state government has to fight over local government autonomy. So no, if we don't look at it from growing from the grassroots, whereby roads and the grassroots are fixed, there are potable waters in those industries where entrepreneurs could grow, where we could encourage young startups, then we will continue to see situations like this. Because if, for instance, if there's no stable electricity, a welder cannot work. Do you understand? The only thing he has is to buy fuel and just go on the street and be moving. So I think it's just necessary that we need to restructure our system of governance. And once we're able to do that and put all hands on deck, I'm sure Nigeria will be a better place. It's a beautiful country already. Do you understand? So we all don't want everybody to japa and leave the country. but we also need to make sure that people in the grassroots feel governance, not just people in the central.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on the
Thank you so
conversation
much,
this morning.
Adiswa.
Thank you for coming to share your thought. I hope I can bring you back so we can have conversation about other things.
Yeah, that's fine. Anytime, please.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for staying with me on the conversation this morning. Do not forget that I'll be back here same time, same channel tomorrow. But before then, you can join the conversation across our social media platforms. It's TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The channel to subscribe to on YouTube is TOS TV Network. And of course, to my website, www.tostvnetwork.com for news, stories, and happenings from across the world. Thank you again. My name is Adesua. Please join me again tomorrow.